What's going on, everybody? My name is Justice. I'm with my guy.
Yo, it's poppin', it's your boy Tyaire. How y'all doing?
And you tuned into the Silky Boys podcast, or this podcast out for sports media, what's going on in the culture right now. Tyaire, this is our 2020 recap, final episode of 2020, bro. How you feeling?
It's been a long time coming. It's been a long year, bro. I'm just thankful that we here right now, bro. That's all we can say, bro. Just be thankful that we made it to this point.
Yeah, we made it to this point. It's coming to an end, hopefully for better things in 2021. But we're gonna have to talk about the year, the past 12 months, and what that has just been for us. And we're gonna talk about some of the highlights, some of the lowlights, some of the moments that just broke the internet, just in general. So let's get right into it. Why don't you start off with one, bro?
Well, I think it's only right to start off with one of the saddest moments of the year, probably that kicked off the year, and that's the passing of the late great Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna Bryant. So yeah, that's just one of the major moments of this year that really affected me, I can say, because just growing up as a Kobe Bryant fan, that just one of the moments that we really didn't expect. And I feel like that moment really kind of set the tone for the kind of year that we was having. I would say. But yeah, that would be one of the first moments I'll bring up.
hmm Definitely that. Had that written in my notes as well. But also just kind of follow up that and kind of the same trend as well. With passing of Pop Smoke and King Von too.
Yeah.
Those two guys, obviously, they both passed really like around the same time when they were just starting to break through in mainstream music, and we really saw them like, okay, we saw like where these guys were going in terms because they had the talent, both of them, and we were able to see kind of just the trajectory that the both of them were on, and just obviously for King Von with Chicago and Pop Smoke for New York and just Brooklyn overall, and like obviously just a sad thing to see those two guys like um passing before they really got to we really got to see them at the height of their talents and of their careers as well.
Yeah, and with those guys, I feel like even past death, I feel like those two specifically probably contributed most to the music that we heard this year and some of the biggest records that we heard this year. So it, like you said, it's just a sad thing to see those bright stars dim so early in their careers. Because like you said, Pop was 2 years probably fresh into his career. Same thing with Vaughn. They probably been both rapping for like 2 years at most. So just to see them just get cut off so early, but it was dope to see just the impact they had in that little bit of time. And I feel like this year and going on from years to come, I feel like Vaughn and Pop are just two artists that won't get lost in this year. I feel like whenever you think about the year 2020, those two artists are just going to come up and they're going to live on past this year.
Yeah, most definitely, and also considering the projects that they dropped this year. Obviously, we talk about with Pop Smoke, Aim for a Star, Shoot for the Moon, and King Von's album as well. Like some of the best, two like great albums that were released this year, honestly.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, like of course the music's always gonna live on that memory, and the memory's always gonna live on from that. So we have that. Another one we can get into real quick, sports related. I look-y forgot about this until I was looking through my phone, looking through my memories. Aaron Gordon at the dunk contest this year.
Yeah, I remember that, bro. That moment, that was just like, I'm still looking at D Wade like, bro, what were you doing, bro? Like, what were you doing, bro? This episode is just gonna be called So 2020. Like that moment was just so 2020 for Aaron Gordon to get robbed once again in a dunk contest, like after he got robbed again back in 2016. So just for that, it was hilarious for him to jump over the tallest person in the NBA in the arena and still get robbed. It was just like, I feel like that night was showing us a precursor of what was about to happen in the NBA. D Wade said he was picking all Heat that night, and the Heat took it all the way to the finals. So we should have been alerted back then that it was about to be a Heat show for the rest of the year. But yeah, we still got to get Aaron Gordon to dunk contest championships, bro.
Yeah, definitely deserving of that. My man, Clear Taco Fall, who stands at 7'3".
Piggybacking off of that, staying in February, another thing that happened in that February month, bro. Deontay Wilder getting his ass beat.
Yeah, yeah, Deontay Wilder getting his ass beat by Tyson Fury from during Black History Month, and again by Tyson Fury, who is British, who comes from a lineage of colonization. It's like, wow, really? Seriously, this is what's going on.
After walking out to the ring in the most iconic Black Panther mask, most I'm from Wakanda, I'm carrying the plight of my culture on my back in this fight in the month, the only shortest month of the year that we get to highlight our culture. I'm going to do this for the plight of Black people, just to go out there and get your ass whooped. It was a devastating blow for the culture this year. But it also was one of the greatest meme nights of the year, bro. Just the memes of him on the ground between the ropes looking for help. It was fun, but we do need that Tyson Fury 3, bro. I would say that, bro.
Yeah. Hopefully we get it in 2021. Because like you said, there's going to be just so much anticipation, just so much hype for that third match, especially everything that's happened this year, and the fact that we were supposed to originally get this past summer. Obviously, we couldn't because of COVID. So definitely looking forward to that in the future. Picking back off that though, another boxing match. Well, it really wasn't even a boxing match. It was just more like an ass whooping. Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul. Like, I don't understand like why would this was a thing. I get Nate called him out, but if you're gonna call somebody out, make sure that you actually can fight. Make sure that you're actually prepared to get hit. Make sure you actually come in there with a game plan.
Man, this year just was like, yo, Black boxers just don't take any fights against white boxers. Like this year has me honestly afraid of a Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul fight. Like I'm like worried that Floyd might lose, which is ridiculous. Like that's just what this year has put me through. That I have to even worry about Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest boxers ever, getting knocked out by this little white YouTuber. Because that's what we've seen. We've seen Deontay Wilder be the best fighter in boxing for 3-4 years. And then come 2020, when 2020 comes around, he's an average Joe. We've seen Nate Robinson be a freak of an athlete for years, which doesn't really mean anything in boxing. But we've seen him talk crazy for months leading up to this fight, just for him to go out there to fight like this was a street fight. So I'm honestly like, is Floyd going to get knocked out, bro? Like at this point, we do not know what's about to happen, bro. Like
fam. If Floyd Mayweather gets knocked out, I'm done. I'm losing it.
That is literally the equivalent of Michael Jordan losing in 1-on-1 to Flight Reacts. Like that's the that's the equivalent to that, bro. Like we can't have that anything. But yeah, that Nate Robinson moment, it just wasn't a year for the culture in boxing. Boxing wasn't our year this year.
It was not the year for that, honestly. It was not the year. And also, but again, I know out to professional athletes. Just because you're pro in one sport does not mean you're going to be good and excel at another sport. Let's just end that narrative right now in 2020, okay? Just because you get out one thing doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be great at another thing. So simple and plain. Another thing we can get into real quick. The revisionist history of Michael Jordan in The Last Dance documentary series that we saw over the span of about 2 months, just about 2 months. First of all, I gotta say wow again, because that was the greatest sports documentary probably ever created. Best one I've ever seen in my entire life. And it really just goes to show why Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan, why he's the greatest basketball player of all time, despite what people might say. And it came at a good time, especially in the year when there was a sports drought and where there was really not much to talk about. So for this to kind of fill that void for those couple of weeks was great.
Yeah, The Last Dance, like you said, is the best doc I ever had. And it was just a moment for us, the people who didn't grow up watching Michael Jordan, get a chance to experience that. And yet we still had idiots out there that watched all that and still came to the conclusion that LeBron James was the GOAT. But that's another thing. But like you said, it's just one of the great the greatest docs ever, and it just came at the perfect moment. I feel like that just shows you the greatness of Michael Jordan, how he was able to just capture the world's attention in the middle of a global pandemic. He was able to kind of like ease the tension or the high stress that was going on at that time. Because at the time that Last Dance release was like, I think April. So that was like at the height when everything was going on. And for him just to sit us down for a night, a week, and just calm and take our minds off it, and this is stuff that everybody's seen already. It just shows you just the power of Michael Jordan. So it was just a great reintroduction for the younger generation, and it just goes to show how 2020 as a overall was just a lesson. It wasn't a year; it was a lesson. I'll say that because it just in so many aspects you were just re-educated on stuff, or you learned stuff that you wouldn't have learned in other years.
Right, definitely that. Like I said, just revisionist history from a basketball standpoint. For me, like again, being someone that that didn't grow up watching Michael Jordan, to have that just in my life and me actually be able to experience it, and not exactly in the same way, but in a way, still to experience like all the pandemonium that was happening during the '90s, during those Bulls runs. Like it really did open my eyes to like, okay, this guy was really like a god in the '90s and really like just had the world in the palm of his hands. And that's so crazy, like for me to really see that, because I never saw that from an athlete's perspective like that.
Hmm. Yeah. Like you said, yeah, the world in his palm in his hands, and he was able to do it again 20, 30 years later, bro. It just shows you different breed.
That's why he's the GOAT. But moving on to another point, we can talk about a little bit of the verses. Overall, just this whole creation of verses, we talked about last podcast episode, like this whole verses, just the way it came about, what it's turned into has just been phenomenal. But more specifically, the verses between Teddy Riley and Babyface. That was a fun night. That was a fun night. So there were two parts to it. So we had the first part. So we had the initial day that was set up for them, to do the verses. Teddy Riley came in with the whack internet, ruined the night for everybody. Talking about, can you hear me? Can you hear me? He's like, no, we can't hear you. You're doing too much. You're doing a lot of extra stuff that was uncalled for. That was not necessary. You turned it. You made it a whole fiasco when it didn't need to be at all. And because of that, we had to cancel it. We had to postpone it. And then in for round two. And in round two, Babyface just wiped the floor with you. Just simple and plain. But overall, it was just an entertaining night. And then the reason why this gets brought up, not only for the versus aspect, but the internet reaction of what happened on Teddy's side with his technical difficulties. The memes that came out from that night were some of the best year we've seen. And again, just going back to, why are you calling an internet comedian broke online? Like, just why? For what? Like, were you really in your feelings that much? Called this man Tony Baker broke like 5 times in a single paragraph.
Ew, bro. Yeah, bro. Like that moment is so iconic on like a different level because Teddy Riley is a verb now. Like if you come on like any internet platform and your Wi-Fi is like messed up, you have that Teddy Riley Wi-Fi now. Like that's just something that's in the culture at this point. And like you said, that night of memes, I feel like that might be the best night of memes in internet history. It might be top 5 because I just feel like whoever the meme creators that night, they were in their bag, bro. Just like you said, Teddy doing the most, had the setup like he was at a live performance. But do we have to say versus low-key got to give Teddy some credit because Teddy tried to introduce the whole vibe that they have now. So like we clown Teddy that night, but the whole versus vibe that we see today is what Teddy tried to do back then. Like, like on the real.
But, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But the thing is, it didn't work back then, so we were clowning it. And we were like, bro, what are you doing? We didn't envision that it could really turn into something the way it is now. That's the reason why, overall.
But hey, sometimes you when you step out onto a platform and you do something new, you're gonna look like the crazy guy. And Teddy just had to take that bullet, and now he could look at verses and be like, "Hey, if it wasn't for me, none of this would be here." Like the Drake meme. Before us, none of this was here. That's Teddy right now, bro. To the versus empire. But off that, bro, what would you say some of your favorite verses this year? Like what would be your top three verses of the year?
My top three, definitely Preem and RZA, Gucci Jeezy, and hmm, I definitely say those two, and I might just say Fab and Jada,
Fab
honestly.
and Jada. Yeah, I probably go Snoop, DMX. No, I'll go Gucci, Jeezy. Gucci, Jeezy is number one. Like, go dig your partner up is. I say that at least once a day. I still can't believe. Like, I still can't believe we got that content for free. But yeah, I'll say Gucci, Jeezy number one. I'll probably put Snoop, DMX two, and then three. Who has some crazy verses? I like the T Pain, Lil Jon one a lot. I like that one. So I probably Gucci, Jeezy, Snoop, DMX, and then T Pain, Lil Jon. But yeah, overall, bro, versus they killed the year, bro. We said it last week, but they killed the year.
We're just looking forward to next year what they got lined up.
Exactly, bro.
Shout out to Ashanti and Kishko. Ashanti, get well.
Yeah.
So we got that, and moving on to like something that was really just mind-boggling to me, and just something that like just came out of nowhere. It was like, why is this a thing? Like, why are we talking about this? Why are you moving the way that you're moving, Marsha? Marsha Pippen. Like again, I never thought we'd talk about Scottie Pippen's wife this much in 2020 or at all in my entire life. But again, why are you moving the way that you were moving this past year was just so grimy, was just it wasn't good. It just wasn't at all.
Larsa, you're definitely, as the word demon was probably the word of 2020 to describe quarantine, you're definitely top demon of 2020. It's probably a race between you or Lori Harvey, but y'all two definitely ran the blog atmosphere with your antics. Lori, you're the GOAT, but Larsa, you are a different type of person. We spoke about you past few podcasts ago, but what you did in 2020, just we just talked about the last dance, and you disrespected somebody that was a part of that legacy, and you continually to do it. And it's just like, Larsa, going into 2021, you need to get help. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not congratulating her for making this list. You need to go get some help. You need to stop acting like a 21-year-old girl and act like the 45 plus year old woman that you are. You are not a Instagram model. You are not. You were alive before Instagram was invented. You were a grown woman before Instagram was invented. Please stop this. That's my only message to Larson. Bro, like stop it, bro. Like
Nah,
20,
but
like
it was pretty
2021, we
spot.
we don't need any more Larson stories in 2021, bro. Like relax.
Like we don't need to hear you messing around with again just current NBA players right now. Like we don't need that at all.
But we do need to keep an eye on his story because, like I said, I feel like this is about to turn into like a OJ thing. Because, like, why out of nowhere does he now have gun charges and stuff? Like what's going on here? Like, so
That is
we are going to be keeping a close look on this situation, keeping a close look on Scottie Pippen just to see how he's doing over the next year, bro.
yep. Because Scotty's OJ in the making. Like we were talking about this before a few weeks back when this whole Malik Beasley lost Pippen story broke. But yeah, like Scotty next OJ in the making. Hopefully that doesn't happen. So like you said, we're gonna keep tabs on it. Scotty, stay sane. You're gonna be all right, bro. You're gonna be all right.
Bro.
So we had that, and then another woman was moving kinda. Actually, I wouldn't even say it was a woman moving kind of suspect or kind of grimy. It was more like her partner or the person that she was entangled with. And of course, I'm talking about Jada Pinkett Smith and August Alsina.
Oh my gosh, bro. The entanglements. I forgot about the entanglement, bro. Like I ain't gonna cap. I forgot about the entanglement, bro.
The entanglement. August Alsina was doing a press run for his album that he was releasing back in August. He did the infamous interview with
Bars.
Angela Yee, talking about his relationships and what was going on in his love life. She came out and asked him, "Were you involved at one point with Jada Pinkett Smith?" He says, "Yes, we were actually dating for a while. We had sex. All of this. We were involved with each other." And he didn't need to do that. He didn't need to reveal this information to the public, but he did. And the blogs went crazy. Blogs just went flat out crazy. The internet went crazy over this information. So much so to the point that Jada had to bring herself on to her red table with her husband, Will, to address this whole entire situation. Just because August was feeling very messy. It was being very messy. It's like, for what? Why are you doing this, man? For what? You could have kept this on the DL, and we would never need to know about this at all.
Yeah, bro. This moment just highlights of a trend that I just saw coming out of 2020, and it's just that men have become the new females, and the roles have reversed, man. We are not in the roles that we were generally brought up on. Men out here are acting more like females now. They are more the groupies now, and the women are popping their shit on their boss level queen shit as they should be. And August just showed that here. He was in a situation. He met and found a nice, beautiful queen that was stronger than him, that was more wealthy than him, that was in a higher position than him, that can do things for him that other women that he was probably messing with couldn't. And he got attached. He was in a dark place. And Jada, being the boss mogul superstar was like, no, get out of here. I'm done. I have a rich husband that I'm going to go back to now. And August, like women of the old days, how they would not know how to deal with that situation, ran to the internet and spilled his tea like women used to do. And now that's just where we are as the male race in 2020, where we are groupies, we are exposing women, and we are releasing albums about how we shot women. So that's just where we at in this year, bro.
It's like, man, we don't need to do this. Like, everything doesn't need to go up on the internet, bro. And like, especially for like the older, like some of the older guys that are a few years older than us. Like, again, we knew what life was like before this internet shit really started popping off. And I would hope that some of us would have relatives or these people in our lives that would tell us like, yo, nah, you don't need to be doing this. You don't need to be running your mouth the way that you're running your mouth. You don't need to go ahead and expose yourself the way that you're exposing yourself. You can keep it to yourself. If you feel like you really gotta deal with it, then yeah, go talk to someone. But you don't got. It doesn't have to be public information at that point.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying, because when you do that, that's when it's cloud chasing. That's when you're looking for their attention. That's when you're seeking that some sort of like a validation, like, oh no, it wasn't them, it was me, type of thing. Like, what are we doing at this point, bro?
Exactly.
Like, not necessary at all.
Yeah, man. Fellas, we got to get together 2021, bro. And we had a lot of iffy, sad moments this year. We're not going to touch on the clown moments that we had this year, but the clowns know who they are. But fellas, we gotta get better heading into 2021, bro.
Hopefully,
Oh,
hopefully that does happen. But another thing to define 2020, really important moment overall for this year, and that is just with BLM, Black Lives Matter. Rest in peace to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain, Sharp Brooks, and everyone that we've lost this year due to police brutality. Back during the summer, it got uncomfortable. it definitely got uncomfortable earlier this summer, but it was necessary to really kind of open our eyes to the fact that obviously these atrocities still are occurring in today's day and age, but we are now more aware of these, and we're now taking more of the proper steps to really remedy these situations and correct these situations.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I wouldn't say this was a year. I feel like this was a lesson. And like you said, this was just the summertime was just a lesson for the masses that were still not woke yet, and it just allowed for them to see. And I feel like COVID and everything, just it was the perfect cluster of all the right factors. Like we were sitting down for months on end, we were in the house, so we had nothing but time to organize or to recuperate or gather together. Because like in other years you would never see the masses that we saw this summer, because nobody was at work, nobody was at school, so we didn't have that opportunity to have that. So I feel like, not to get religious, I feel like God was trying to kind of put us in places where we had to sit down and just had to see what was wrong in the world, see what was bad in all areas of the world, either in music and sports and government. We can see it everywhere. This year showed us everything, and it just allowed us to see what's wrong. And I feel like for 2021, we're gonna have to go off what we saw and build off of that and go try to fix the problem. Because now that we awake and we can see what's going on out there, I feel like now we have no excuse not to try to get better.
Yeah, obviously, just taking steps and doing things right now in order to better our future. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. And like I said, it was uncomfortable for a while, but it was definitely a necessity.
Mm.
These things still happen. Unfortunately, for the future, like it seems like they still are going to happen. But again, we just need to take the proper steps in order to, like I said, just remedy this situation, make sure that these things don't happen for the next generation and the generation after that.
Yeah.
So that, and then probably the final thing to really wrap up this whole 2020 fiasco, the election. That was a wild, like I want to say week overall. Just going with the back and forth. Nevada still counting votes. Just waiting on Pennsylvania to flip blue. Waiting just for that to happen.
What the vote counts in Maricopa County are looking like just just hours on end watching CNN and John King on the magical board, like
Give that man John King a super max right now for putting in 48, playing 48 minutes of a full game, bro. Like just give him the super max.
yeah, bro.
Overall, it's just like a wild year. And then the memes that came out following the results of the election were just some of the best of the year. And just the overall reaction from the world too, as well. It was something I never experienced in my lifetime, and something I'll always remember.
Yeah, man. When the world rejoice when you lose your job, you probably weren't doing good at your job, bro. Hey, that's all I'm gonna say, bro. Trump, you you had your time, bro. It was a 4 years that you put us through. It was nothing good about it to me. And you went out like we all expected you to go out, bro. You went out taking 1,000 L's, bro. So to that, kick rocks, my dude. Like, go have a blast with what you do, bro. But we leaving you in 2020 slime. So like,
Pretty much, and get ready to be packing your bags because
you
you're
got
gonna
like,
have to move out in a couple of weeks, my
yeah,
boy.
you got like a month left, my G. So enjoy that shit.
Yep, enjoy that.
But off that, bro, just the funniest thing, just thinking about that, just speaking about that, the funniest thing I would say to me that I've thought in 2020 was that quarantine was lasting 2 weeks, bro. You
Oh
remember
yeah.
that? You remember that, bro? You remember when we thought
Oh,
quarantine was gonna last 2 weeks, bro?
bro, over there thinking the door and just thinking to myself like, bro, once we get back from spring break, this shit's gonna be over with.
Thanks,
Like,
bro. It's just calm, bro. You're gonna wrap this up, bro. 12 months later, bro.
12 months later, bro. like I think like April, bro. Literally, but like April, I was like, all right, we might be in trouble. Like we might be in trouble. I think I see the light at the end of the tunnel, but like nah, like nah. At the end of the tunnel, this shit. Bro, that light was very off in the far distance. That tunnel was a lot of miles long. Many miles long.
That tunnel was a dead end. Like, we ain't gonna get down there. It's not gonna be shit down there. Like wow. I'm like, okay. Went through
like
it.
That. Oh man. But so 2020 was a wild year. We all know that. We're always gonna remember this incredible year. But in this year, we had a lot of great music come out. A lot of great music. And I just want to really quick just read out like some of the best projects for me personally that I was able to listen to this past year. Pop Smoke, Aim for a Star, Shoot for the Moon, Lil Baby's My Turn, Divisions, I'm Using Her Feelings, Benny the Butcher's album, Burden of Proof. I've been listening to that a lot more recently. That's one of the top albums of the year. Uzi's Eternal Take, following that up, Uzi versus Lil Uzi versus the World 2, Savage Mode 2, Man on the Moon 3, Detroit 2, also Chilumbo as well. Those were just some of my personal favorite projects from this past year.
Mm-hmm. For me, bro, off top, Division, I'm Using Her Feelings, album of the year to me. No album got more play from me this year. And then for just the other albums that I was really loving this year, like you said, Pop Smoke, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, Lil Baby, My Turn, Savage Mode, Detroit 2, Big Sean, Eternal Would Take, Lil Uzi. Then I had Burden of Proof with Benny the Butcher, and then honorable mention I had Nas's King's Disease. So yeah, those albums were great, and I feel like a standout factor in a lot of those albums for me, and that I noticed that probably a person who probably had the biggest year is Hit Boy. He was on at least 3 or 4 of those albums that I named, and when you look at the year of 2020, if there's not a picture of Hit Boy there, it's probably gonna be a problem with that picture, bro. Because I feel like he was definitely a producer of the year.
That producer of the year, and following that up, artist of the year. We already know who it is. Lil Baby, just incredible run he's had this year, and just he's only gonna build on it until 2021 for the rest of his career. I mean, what more can we really say that we haven't already said on this podcast throughout this entire year?
This is a Lil Baby fan appreciation podcast. If you guys didn't know, like that.
But we gotta give flowers where they're due, and he's definitely more than deserving of that artist of the year without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, and just the other people that I had on that list below Baby, I had rest in peace Pop Smoke. I had Meg Thee Stallion just because I feel like she had a song every month, and then I had Uzi on that list. And just for Meg, just as a woman, I feel like she ran this year throughout all this stuff she had. She had like 2 number 1 hits. I feel like whenever she released a track, it go viral on TikTok, and I feel like she's put together 2 back-to-back strong years. Like 2019, I feel like was really her year, and she came and ran 2020 on some lazy, like I'm not really even trying this year type stuff. So I just had to give her that shout out
as well. And then also, real quick, another artist shout out we got mentioned, the Queen, Chantel May, just came into our lives at the end of that Division album, and we have been paying attention ever since. Project is on the way. Hopefully, early 2021, we actually get to listen to a full-length project from that. Just can't wait, honestly.
Hopefully we get you on the podcast when that project comes out. Sit down, chop it up with us, man. But yeah, just definitely a great gem that we found this year, bro. So definitely shout out Division for giving her that look, bro.
Yep. All right, and that's gonna wrap it up for our 2020 recap, man. Wild year, crazy year. Hopefully a better year in 2021. And with that being said, we'll catch you on the next one, man.
Next time you see me, I might not be a Jets fan.